Yay! How are you guys doing? Yeah, so here we are, and yes, a share thing. Yes, we can. If you have some screenshots you want to share, you can share them in the Discord server. Actually, let me try and see if there is anything interesting there. But yeah, the Giga one, it's more complicated than I thought. So, and it's more complicated than you see at first glance. So that's why you see I didn't do it. But anyway, today we're going to be doing some environment scenes, large scenes, because I rarely see anyone looking at this, doing something like this. So the reference image you can download from. You can look at the reference image or that we're going to be using from the link that I provided there. It will take you right to ArtStation, and you can see we're not going to copy exactly this. We're just going to use it as inspiration. And hello Ukash live, how are you doing? And I will also post the final render onto the same page if you want to see how that comes out. I'll be posting it directly there. Let me first edit this page a bit. But today we're going to be doing some environment scenes. I guess I should be importing some of this. Let me first make sure this link okay. Hi, how are you? Yeah. Okay, so we are back. So let's just get right to it. Again, the reference image, that's the link in the description. Sorry, in the chat, if you want to check out other reference images and how the final render would look. So let's dive into Blender and just get started. I hope the audio has cleared out and everything is okay. So let me just bring in our reference image here. Let me first go to the link and just grab the reference image directly there. So this is by Greg Zunek. Oh, Dunek, I think. Let me leave a like, maybe even follow. So you use Redshift, Maya, SpeedTree, Photoshop, and Megascans. But so we're just going to be doing this directly into Blender. And if we have time, we can even create the trees ourselves. So let me first grab this image, just paste it in here. Yeah, so let's start by setting up the camera and setting up the scene. That's what I usually like to do. I'm just going to position the camera here, and maybe let me turn on screen keys for you guys as shortcuts, like so. So we're just going to have a camera at around here. Just change the focal length to something like 25. Hello, hello. I'm sorry I can't pronounce that. You can use Google Translate to paste in English. I think it would really help. So let's let me see, what is this? Okay, no problem. Bro, can you please make a video on all modifiers? I think there is a YouTube video about that, but I can also try making it. Okay, so let's begin by creating the water. The water is the easiest part. And so let's start with that. And for that, we're just going to use, let me first reduce the sound here. My laptop is very slow. I can't even sculpt. Yeah, sculpting is very demanding, so it might not be a laptop. It's just that sculpting itself is very computational demanding. So let's create the water. We're going to first add a vector bump map, and then a texture noise map. Noise texture, feed the factor into the height, then normal into the normal map. And I think we should already have, let me see. We should start to see some ripples like that. Maybe reduce the strength, make this very, very reflective and a bit darker like that. Then we have some water. Now, we can also add some translucence or transmission, and just extrude this down to give it some thickness, so that in case we want to have some ground surface, we can add that down below there. And let me just apply the scale for now. Now also let me just make sure that my scene is not too large. So 15 meters isn't that bad. Can Blender make a battle game like PUBG Mobile? Well, Blender doesn't have a game engine anymore, so but there is a Blender fork that has a Blender a game engine that maintains the Blender game engine. I can search for that maybe. I'm not sure though if it can make a battle game like that. That seems more complicated. But yeah. Thanks, Blora. Beautiful. I follow your work. Thank you. Okay, so let's continue here. I'm just going to create. If you look closely there is this. This is more like a small pond surrounded by a ground surface. So let's create that ground surface. So I'm just going to add a plane, scale it like this, and we can. I'm not going to subdivide this. What I'm going to do is go to sculpt mode. Let me go to sculpt mode, and just go to the brush settings, turn on Dino Topo. This will just dynamically subdivide the area you're sculpting for you. Let me also turn on random colors so that we can see things much better. Now let me go to shaded view here. Hello, Burning Bright, glad to see you. How is everything? I'm just going to draw the pond like this. Maybe bring this area up a bit. Can even use a bigger brush, something like that. And maybe just, yeah, so this can be our pond. We don't want it to be too deep, so something like that. And we can I can always come back and add more detail to this, but for now this should be enough. And you might have some shading issues like this because the edges are too squished together, so you can fix that by using maybe a smooth vertex smooth modifier or smooth modifier like this, so to get rid of some of those artifacts, especially in places like this. Or you can just go into edit mode and fix it directly yourself by getting rid of the corrupted or the vertices that are causing issues like that. What is the name of the laptop you are using? I'm not using a laptop, but I do have a laptop. It's a Dell G15. Okay, so let's continue. So let me see where my camera is set up. So it's around here, which is not bad. Have this. So let's create a material. for this, for the ground surface. For that, I'm just going to use my texture folder add-on to just get some PBR materials. So let me go to let me see, ground. I think I have some ground and rocks PBR materials. So let me get this ground here, create PBR, and I should set up my PBR materials. And if you want to check out the add-ons I'm using, just type in exclamation add-on, and Nightbot will handle the rest for you. What's the graphics card and processor you are using? You can type in specs, command specs. Nightbot should handle that, and we'll list all the specs that I'm using. Okay, let's. Hello, Zigzag. How are you doing, Dr. Zigzag? Glad to see you. Hello, Echo. Glad to see you. So let's. Electronics Force, you're asking, the development of Blender game engine has been discontinued after the release of version 2.8. Yeah, that's true. It was discontinued. Okay, so the PBR material has been set up, but we haven't UV unwrapped this material, this surface. That's why it's a single solid color like this. Now to change this into, okay, let me make sure this Nightbot is working, because it's failing to. Specs. Let me. I think I need to first log into Nightbot for it to bring to make the commands work. So let me log in, and then you can try again. I don't know why it signs out. I would think it should. Okay, try the commands again. Oh, let me try them. I think it's exclamation addons. Let me actually see if that's the right command. Oh, it is set up, not exclamation set up, like that. So anyway, because we are using UV map, that's the Nightbot is active now. I think we're using the wrong commands. I'm just going to make sure that I'm using object coordinate mapping instead of, yeah, so that's my specs. You should use setup. I think I need to change that command to specs, because that's what most people are used to. So this is, I'm going to scale this water a bit like that. So this is our surface, and we have our water. And I'm going to turn on ambient occlusion, screen space reflections, and also screen space refraction, because I want to be able to see through this water when I'm seeing outside. So I can go to this material, to the water material, and make sure I turn on alpha blend, and we don't need shadows for this. That should make the water see through. And let me just give this a moment. Can come in here, maybe bring the water level a bit up. Maybe let's just leave it at that level. Now we have a few things here. We have some rocks and pebbles, but before we do that, I think we can set up the bridge, which should be very easy to set up. So we're going to do the bridge. Let's see. Hey, it's not that difficult. And to do the bridge, we just need to add a plane like this, rotate it 90 degrees. Let me zoom into it. Go to edit mode, add a loop like that. Let me grab this up like that. Bevel this rope using, I can see the shortcuts I'm using here. Control B to bevel the edge loop. So you landscaping today? Yeah, I try to switch out things a bit, because if you don't, it gets boring for you, even for the viewer. So that's why you see I try to switch things up a bit. Do random things that I think the topics have not been touched a lot. So after we have something like this, I can simply just grab these two vertices and use Ctrl+Shift+B to bevel the edge loop, and then I have something like that until they connect. Like so. Yeah, so Zigzag, did you finish the cards that you're making? I think the turret cards. I'd like to know if you're Okay, sharing that. Also, I'm just going to select this side, and because we can use the mirror modifier, and I'm also just going to expand this side. Actually, we might need more resolution on this bridge, so let me just connect this, merge to the last like that, get this, connect this to the bottom like so. Now we have something like that, and I think maybe this can be brought in, and the rest here doesn't really matter a lot, but we need to add a a mirror modifier, and we can scale this sideways a bit like that, or maybe even how does the water material work? Well, in Eevee, it just uses a bump map, and then if you have some reflections, it just looks amazing, I think. And another trick you can do, let's see, I think I already have screen space reflections, so we'll try to add more details later, but to the water, because if you add, actually let's do it now. If you add an input layer weight, this is just going to create a mask that depends on the angle of your view. So if I maybe make this, you can see whenever I change the angle, the mask, the gradient changes a bit, and this can be drop in a new video today on YouTube, on my YouTube. I'll try to check it out after. You can add, I'll try to check it out and see. Okay, so you can add if I add a mask here, you can see a more pronounced effect. So you see the gradient, it changes depending on the angle. So we can use this mask to vary the color of the water a bit. So I can add a mix RGB and use this as a mask. Now we can make the water far away to look a little bit maybe bluish, and the rest greenish. And depending on the angle, let me see. You can see, I'm not sure if you can see that correctly. If I change this to Fresnel, you might even see a more pronounced effect. You can see what I mean. But I want it to be, let's see, Fresnel, but just play with the gradient here. I think I'm just going to use this. And then I can use this as the base color. Just give it some few seconds to compile, and you can see the water now looks more rich. It's a very subtle effect, but I think it sells things much better. So yeah, the water, as I said, I want the water to be see-through. You can make sure you turn on screen space refractions. That way you should be able to see through the water. Let me see, let's just give it a moment. Yeah, now you can see a little bit through the water. And if you play with the, I think, let's try playing with this IRA, see if actually it changes. If you play with the reflection index or refractive index, you can see it looks much better now, I think. Okay, so we were creating the bridge. Let me just grab this piece, push it out like this, extrude on the Y. I just delete this face. Now if I go to the mirror, I can turn on, let me make sure that I apply the rotation. Turn on clipping, bring this, I think this has to be a bit larger like this. Now for the materials, I can go to my text folder add-on and look for some bricks. So I'll go to bricks. Now there are several different types of bricks here. Let's see, if we select this, create PBR, I put it in the Discord, so nice. I'll try and check it out. Let me check this to object mapping. This would be our bridge. It doesn't look bad, I think. The material is not bad. I'm just going to go here and scale this up. Now maybe this can also be a bit thinner, like that. And then the other thing we can do is just grab this piece here, Shift D, scale it up, extrude down. We're creating this piece here, and I think I can separate it into its own part so that it's easier for me to work on. So let me first grab it. Just going to make sure I turn off clipping. Just grab everything. Turn on clipping. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so then I think we need to extend this. Actually, let's model while we see how this is shaping out. And I need this to be there, origin to 3D cursor. Like so. Just going to grab this part, push it in. Then I think I don't need this edge loop. I can drag this, select this edge, use Ctrl B to bevel the loop. And you see, I think I need to apply the scale. So Ctrl B, or something like that. And you can even round off these corners just a bit. Like that. Love from India. Thank you, thank you. How is it there? Hello, Super Ranger. How are you doing? Just wanted to say thank you for sharing the process of your works. Grateful. Thank you, thank you. No problem. Okay, so this is where we at. And now what we can do, I'm just going to grab this face here because we want to create this extrusion. What we can do is insert this in something like that, and then just grab this face, make sure that we have clipping on. Just grab this face and delete that, grab this face. Then just have to extrude this down like that, and then scale that like so. And maybe this should even be deep, go deep into the water. Just scale it up like that. And another detail we can add in, we have this loop already, so we can utilize it. I just selecting this edge loop. I don't want it to go around like that, so let's delete these faces. I'm just going to grab this edge loop, extrude it like that, and we have a nice detail like that. I can round off these edges a bit, so something like that. Shade smooth, auto smooth. Now also we can also round off this just a bit, and this, actually you don't want to round that edge. And you can see we also have this detail here. So I'm just going to grab this face, extrude up, then extrude like that. And we have that is our bridge. This should be mirrored on the X to that. And actually I think these have to be a bit larger than this and a bit up. I think just have it somewhere there. Now what we can do is just use the array modifier. So array to continue this bridge like that. I do the same thing for this. Just do to. You can see that now this doesn't fit correctly because we need to come in here. Just get rid of, I just make this a bit smaller. And I think I can just dissolve some of these vertices and then drag this in like that. And I think I can come in here, just try to make give this a reasonable polygon flow, like something like that. And now this here, I don't think we need to mirror this. We don't need to mirror this. If I shade smooth, auto smooth, recalculate normals, and also make sure that these edges okay, something like that. And hide. I think I need to extend this just a little bit, and maybe let me center this, maybe even scale this up, yeah, somewhere like that. Then just make sure that everything is well connected. Yeah, something like that. And you can see there is also this kind of a column. So let's add that. I'm just going to select edges here, subdivide them, and straighten this this edge loop here, maybe somewhere there. Just grab this face and this, extrude to have something like that. But we're going to have a few faces here that we don't want. So let's first get rid of them. Now we can just bridge this. We have something like that. I'm also going to make this a bit rounded. I don't want to use the bevel tool because sometimes it adds unnecessary resolution. Hello there, Razor AR. Glad to see you. Glad to see you back. Okay, so let's see. So Razor AR, Zigzag, and who else? I think are very regulars here. VMFX, I think I've been seeing you here quite a lot. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Just wanted to say, read that already. Anyway, let's see. Let me get this. I can get rid of this edge loop. We don't really have to worry too much about this. Hello, Gomez La Rosa. Yeah, you're also quite a regular. Thank you. I'm just going to also grab this edge loop, round it off a bit. The same up here. It doesn't really matter too much up here as we're not going to really be seeing that, but we can round it off just a bit like that. Now we have also a bridge. I'll just need to extend this. I can even add. Actually, I can just increase the array distance for this, and everything should now connect like that. Then, hello Shaku, Sharuk, I think. I can have an empty here. So an empty, I want it to be at here. I want it to be there. And we're going to use this to create a mirror for this bridge. So I'm just going to select this and select this as the mirror object, and also do the same for this. mirror and select our empty as the mirror object. Actually, this we may not need even a mirror object, so that might be enough. I just have to increase the array count and like so, and our bridge can extend as far as we want. I was wondering how long you have been making 3D environments for. Well, specifically 3D environments, I can't really tell. I'm not sure myself as well, because I haven't made too many. I haven't made many. Now, if you look closely, everything looks fine, but the issue is the wall looks too flat compared to what you see here. One way to fix this is to just create a new mesh like this, a cube like this. Just round off the edges just a bit. Let me first apply the scale. Round off the edges a bit. You don't really need a lot of resolution. Shade smooth. There. Shape it into the bridge shape. Maybe it should even be, I don't know. It should be the shape of a cube, I think. Like that. Have you used Unreal Engine before? Yes, I have. I have. I use it, but because most of my models are in Blender. If I wanted to do anything like this in Unreal Engine, I would have to make sure that I convert my models into FBX, which is a lot of work. I love your work. Love you from India. Thank you, thank you. Hi. How comes does the texture tiles correctly when you extrude? Well, because I'm using object coordinate mapping. If you look at this, I'm using object coordinate mapping, and that doesn't take UVs into consideration. Hello, fantastic. Glad to see you. Okay, so we want this to use the same material as this, so I'm just going to grab this, Control link, materials, let me apply the scale, and I want this to be the size of a single brick, so I'm just going to bring it in, scale it down, apply the scale, and let me just rotate this 90 degrees, apply scale, apply rotation, and I just want it to be the size of, apply scale, of any brick like that. The issue we're having is it's not really, the bricks are not aligning up correctly. One thing you could do is move this until you find a nice brick, or another way to do it is to just create a new material, but I don't really want to do that. So what we can do is, let me see, is just move this. Could have to take a look at that. Yeah, object mapping is quite interesting, quite very useful. I want to align this so that this is one brick, something like that. Yeah, so something like that, and then I can duplicate this again. Actually, it doesn't matter, one single brick is enough. What about USD format? I haven't played with that, I'm not sure. So we want to have some bricks outside, some rock bricks. So what I'm going to do is just give this a particle system. So here, it's particle system here, and we only need about 100 particles. And we can go to the cells and make sure to use modifier stack. And you can see now we have some random particles. What I can do now is go to the render and change the object to use this brick. Make sure the scale is 1 and the hair length is 1, so that we get the same length. Now we just want to have a few of these pop out to be randomly scattered around the bridge. It will add some nice detail to the bridge. And I can even turn on advanced under sources. Yeah. Yo, thank you for subscribing, Eddie. Glad to see you joining us. I think we need a lot of particles to be able to see this. Let's try 1000. And you can see we would have some rogue bricks like that. You can see them there, and they are randomly scattered. And this can also use the same particle system. So array, need to go to particle systems, just select that brick particle system, and you can see now we have some nice rock bricks like that. And we can also just come in here and use an input random input geometry and look for, I think it's actually input object info, and we can find the random object, and you can see now these bricks will be given a random material, because right now the texture looks too plain for my liking. So now, since we have this random value, we can add a color mix RGB, just have this as color 1, this is a fact, actually this as a convert color ramp, and just play with the colors we want. Maybe have some brownish bricks, just add in some random colors, some darker ones, some greenish ones like that. Feed this as color 2, and we can set this to be color. Now you see we have some variation in our bridge, and we can use this as the base color now. Okay, so the green stands out too much, so maybe make it a bit darker. I don't like how the green is standing out too much like that, so let me play with a different color, maybe a reddish color like that, and I can even increase these particles. Let's try to play with the with some children here. Simple, just use 10. Actually, I don't think we need children, we just need to increase the count here, something like 200, 2000. You can see now we have, even the top you see is getting some random materials, some randomness, which I think is nice. I think I can add a few faces here and a few faces here, so we get more randomness like that. Thank you, Jawad Azami. So we get some random lights like that. Now let's go, we can even add in some rotation. Let's use Nemo. Just add in some random rotation. I don't want to randomize the phase. That's, yeah, I think that's better. Now, what else? Vegetation. Vegetation is one of the hardest things to do. It's not the hardest thing to do, but it's very computational. Computational what? It requires a lot of computation power. So let's see how we're going to approach that. And I think my bridge is too small because I see there's only 1, 2, 3 that are visible, but mine is showing quite a lot. So let's try scaling this up. We need all the modifiers to be scaled up, including our brick, which is here. Maybe something like that, and bring the bridge. You know what? I think you don't really have to scale it that much. Maybe somewhere like that. Maybe bring it up a bit, like so. Then let's add a cube, because right now the scale of our environment is not easy to identify. So let's add some volumetrics, some volume like this, using an object. Let's see, let's just use a world instead of adding a cube. So we are going to add some volume. So I can add a shader principal volume, connect this to the volume in the world settings. Let's go to the world here. We don't need any density, but we definitely need some emission value. So something like 0.01 or 0.005. And another setting we can play with is if we go to the volume settings, volumetric settings, let's just measure the distance from the camera first. So this is our camera, we can measure. So we have about a range of 46. So we don't need all the 100 meters of volume. We can just clip the volume to somewhere there. And hi, how are you? Hello, Aero CG. Glad to see you. 52 viewers, 54 likes. Thank you guys. Thank you. Let's turn on volumetric shadows. Then for the lighting, we can do a few things. We can either use a background or an HDRI lighting, but we can get back to that later. Let's first continue to work here in this view. Let me first get rid of that. Now we have some grass here, and I'm not sure if we should just create it from scratch or just let's try creating it from scratch and populate it in different areas. So the first thing we can do for the grass, we can just add a plane. I'm going to use my texture folders to navigate to some plants folder I have. Let me see, let me go to link new folder, resources. I think I have a plants folder where I have a bunch of grass stuff. Okay, so we have a few leaves. Let's go with this. And actually, if you're using this, we'll make sure that we can load in. I can get this here and just create an image, a texture on a plane. This should, let me first go back to the object settings. This should set up the materials, the basic materials for me. Let me just scale this down like this. What it hasn't set up for me is actually, I don't think I need to do too much here. I'm going to use the diffuse and then the translucent, and then the transparency. So let's first blend these two. Yeah, blend the two like that. I have the texture, this texture, be the color of the diffuse and also the color of the translucent. so that this would also will enable the light to go through the material. But now we have the transparency here, so we can blend the two. I'm using the node wrangler add-on to easily mix these nodes, and you can see the shortcuts I'm using here. It's Control Shift and then dragging. So now with the alpha mask I've got from the image, I can just have it here. Hello, Ayan Patney, how are you doing? And I think I need to invert the two. Now with this, we can go to, let's go to the material and make sure we have alpha blend, and for the shadow alpha clip. And that's what we have. Now, what I can do with this, I can just simply add some subdivisions like that. Maybe scale this wide a bit, and maybe something like this. Maybe we don't need all these subdivisions. We can add something like 3 like that. Where are you from? I'm from East Africa, Uganda. Let me turn on proportional editing, rotate this on the x-axis, rotate x, turn on proportional editing. Yes, Uganda, man. Uganda, you know that? It's a small country. I don't think most of you have heard of it. Maybe if you are very good at memes, you might have heard of Uganda Knuckles. So that's the country. 65 viewers, 65 likes. Thank you. Really appreciate it. I'm really flattered. Okay, so this is our leaf, and we can I'm just going to have my cursor at the center there. Shift D to duplicate this. Make sure I turn proportional editing is off. Rotate, scale. Shift D, rotate, scale. Maybe even give them a random rotation, a bit like that. Shift D, rotate. And we have our first plant. With this, can you show the shader on the water? Okay, so the water, this water is simply a noise map. Blender just crashed. It doesn't really like to show you the water. So let's go back a bit, and that is a good cue for me to save a copy. So the water shader is basically a noise map. Let me go back here. God, I had not saved the plant. Let me see if I can recover this last session. Okay. So Blender crashed and we had not saved the plant, but that's okay. We can repeat it. It's not that difficult. So the water shader is, let's go back here. Use autosave. What was the reason why I don't like using autosave? I think autosave, you know what? I think I have autosave on. Oh, you mean recover autosave? File, recover autosave, environment. Okay, nothing there. It doesn't seem like it's saved. How can I make money with Blender? I think there are a lot of YouTube videos explaining that. I also have one video about making money with Blender, so you can type in a top channel 1-on-1. I'm making money with Blender, and it should give you some good results, some good advice. So let's go to the plant, create the plant again because it has crashed. So, and if we make one plant, we can easily make different variables of that. So let's go back to the plants. Just get, I just want to get this again. We can start from import as, no, not that. You want to start with add as a texture. Now, this time let's make sure that I'm saving. Okay. Yeah, I save constantly. I think I even save more than autosave saves. So again, let's just do shader, diffuse, shader, translucent, shader, transparent, blend the translucent and the transparent, and the diffuse, blend the transparent with the translucent. The color should be connected to color, diffuse, color, transparent, alpha to the factor of the mix shader. And then I just have to invert this. Yes, Blender has an autosave. I think it saves in an interval in, I don't know. I'm not sure what interval it saves in, but I save very often. I'm not sure why I wasn't saving. Every 5 minutes, yeah, so that's way too less often than I would prefer. I save almost every 10 seconds, I think. Let me just add a subdivision here, add a subdivision there, and just make sure that we have, in the material shader, we have blend and opaque under clip. And if we go to the UV map, let me split this. Let's split this. Yeah, let's split this. Just go to the UV editor and grab the image we're looking at, this leaf. Are we in the UV editor? UV editor, yeah. I wanted to rotate this so that it's somewhat like that. So then we get this image here, this thing here. What I can do is just cut that out. Just going to grab this edge loop because I don't want that to be shown, and I want this corner to be like that. Bring back the music. Then I can just select this edge loop, turn on proportional editing, and rotate on this axis. So we have something like that. And I can even just bend it, maybe scale at the active element, turn off proportional editing, just have it bent a bit like this, shade smooth. And this is what we have. Now I can just Shift D, duplicate, scale down, and maybe give it some random rotation. Shift D, duplicate, rotate randomly. Shift D, duplicate, scale, rotate randomly like that. Let me first get rid of this. And yeah, we are back where we were. Let me make sure that I'm saving a backup copy in case. Can you make a sci-fi environment? I think I've made something sci-fi. You can check out the channel and search for, you can check out YouTube, just search for Top Channel 1-on-1 sci-fi. But I'll be making in the future I'll be making other versions. So we have this. Now the great thing about this is that I can duplicate this and just make sure that I also duplicate the material. Now I can find a different image like this and just select this image. If you're using the texture folder add-on, you can just use switch selected texture, and we have another plant. We can do this again and get maybe this switch selected. We have another plant, and some of this might not be aligned correctly, so just come in here and realign the UV map. Just going to just realign the UV map to make it straight. This should be, just make sure all the leaves are selected and not just a few. Just grab this. Scale Y is 0. And we have that. Before I do this, let me just duplicate this and reuse this switch, have another plant, duplicate this, actually not that, this, make sure the material is duplicated as well, switch, but you can see the leaves are rotated in a different direction, so we need to rotate this in a different direction, the UVs to match as well. That would look cool. Imagine corpses in the water and zombie walking in the bridge. Yeah, that would totally look cool, I think. It's a bit ambitious, but I think it would look amazing. Well, one issue we are having here is that we didn't add any reflective matte surface. So that is a mistake on my side. But what we can do is just come in here and switch the principal shader or the diffuse for the principal shader. So there is a way to switch this, I think. It's going to make sure that this is now the new material. I like this. Let me first turn off the grid for a second. What I use PC specs, just type in ! specs, setup, and it should bring you the results. Oh, actually, I'm using the principal volume. It should be the shader principal BSD, and this is going to be the best color, and we're just replacing the diffuse, where the diffuse was, with the principal shader. So we can have this. Now I can even just use this as the roughness. Like that. And if I want, I can even add this into the bump map. So vector bump map. Just connect this. And I'm just going to bring this like so down a bit. Let me see, what am I using here? Alpha clip, alpha blend. Actually, we can use alpha clip for the blending mode if we want to get better alpha results. And you can see now, I think that looks much better. And yeah, looks much better. Just going to yes, I do have an i5. Blender isn't crashing. Mine has an i9 and a lot of crashing issues. Well, maybe it depends on the kind of projects you're working on. So if you're using it for heavy projects, yeah, it can crash quite a lot. So this is where we're at, and I'm not going to add the principal shader for every material because they look okay without it. What I'm going to change is change this to clipping because it renders faster, and you can see it also makes things look better. So let's just use clipping for the vegetation like that. And if you have more plants, I think what I need is a kind of a grass blade like this. This is a leaf, but I'm just going to use it as a grass blade. So Shift D, just duplicate the material as well. Then select this, switch texture. And just make sure that everything is rotated correctly. Okay, need to rotate this 180, rotate 180, yeah, like this. Can even make this, I want this blade to be very, very thin. So I'm going to scale this up like that, but they're repeating like that. So I'm just going to go into the texture and just use clip so that they are not extended. Now you see we have a nice grass blade like that. So what else can we do? Do you use e-cycles for rendering? No, I rarely use cycles for rendering because my PC is a potato. So I can't really use it for that. Please zoom the camera. Zoom the camera view. You mean zoom in or zoom out? I'm not sure. I've been following you for quite a while of time now. Like some years, bro. I appreciate some years back. I appreciate your work, bro. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you. So when did you start following? I would like to know. How to update Blender to 3? I think you can just go to the site to Blender and to actually I don't remember. Anyway, so let's have these. Let me first. I think these plants are going to be enough for the plants here. So what I'm going to do is go to the surface. I'm going to first let me change this to a collection viewer or outline viewer. Select these, and just have them in a weeds collection, like so. Zoom in to the plants or to the entire scene. So now we're going to go to the particle system, add a new hair particle system. And let me first recalculate the normals to be facing up like that. And what I'm going to do is under render, we want to use collection and yo, thank you for subscribing. Watch replay. Really appreciate that. Early last year. Thank you, man. Thank you for being around, for staying around. Your thoughts on Blender as an industry standard? Yeah, if it becomes an industry standard, that would be amazing for everyone in the Blender industry, I think. So we're going to use our weeds here. They're being rotated in the wrong direction. So what we can do is just go. I think the first thing we need to do is make sure the scale is set to 1, and then the hair length is also set to 1. So they are the same size. Just then we can play with the scale here. Let's also make sure that the rotation, turn on advanced, then so we can access rotation. Change this to normal, which doesn't seem to change much. Tangent, no. You really have to play around with the settings here to get the right orientation. This seems to do it, but I'm seeing some kind of artifacts here. I'm not sure why that is happening. Okay, I'm seeing artifacts here, but not in this screen. So, okay, I think the artifacts are gone. What I'm going to do is go to this collection. Just going to rotate, maybe scale this up, just so we get a nice rotation. And for these, I think I can scale them even further up. Just grab this. Something like that. Maybe grab this. Where did you get the leaves? I think I used, was it textures.com? Yeah, textures.com. And Gogo, I think. Just grab this, maybe rotate it a bit. This edge loop. Okay, you don't want to have a lot of polygons. That's why you see I'm being a bit minimum with it when it comes to this. I have this grass blade, and I want more of the grass blades. So what I can do is duplicate this and just maybe select 2 of these grass blades. So we have something like that. The grass blade doesn't really need that much resolution. So something like, okay, maybe that's too little. So let's continue with that. How do you make money with Blender? Hey, thank you Dofus 369. Thank you for subscribing. How do you make money with Blender? As I said, you can just go to my channel and search for Top Channel 1-on-1, or go to YouTube and search for Top Channel 1-on-1, how to make money with Blender. I think I'll get some tutorials there. So let's go back here. You can see what we have. We have some random bushes that are not well distributed. So what I'm going to do is create a new vertex group. So I'll go under vertex group, create a new vertex group, and use this. I'll call this grass or weeds. Go under particle system and vertex group, select the weeds collection. And now I can go to white paint. I can even turn off this and just start painting where I want the weeds to be. So just around there, maybe a few around here, and maybe a few in the water like that. So you can see how things look. And we want to go to the particle settings, under rotation. In the render settings, you want to make sure you have some random scale and also some random rotation. Let me see if I change. Let's see, object Z. Give them some random rotation. Now, the problem I'm seeing here is that we have a lot of color variation in these, especially for this here. So I'm going to switch it out with a different type of weed that is more green. Or we can use some post-processing, or some we can retouch it to make it. Okay, so that should be better. I want it to be the same colors, and for this here, I think that's okay. Now let me go back here and let's see how these are being distributed. Now in the particle system collection, you see that you can use count. And let me see what. Now we can see, let me go back here. You can see how many particles are being used. So we have around 1,000 particles, which is quite a lot. Let's use 500. I think the issue is that we don't really have any lighting. So let me, you see, it's starting to look better with that. Let me grab a sun. So let me grab this. Let me first hide this surface. Get a sun. Sun. Use maybe 10. Maybe rotate. And in the world settings, let's use an sky text. Let's try using an environment map. And just go to the skies and use. Can you make those leaves move? Yes, I can, but it's likely going to just crash my PC if I try to do that. Let me see if I use this. Yeah, I think this is not too bad. And what we can do is expand. Let me go to sculpt mode, go back to brush setting and turn on back Dino Topo, and just dissolve this area into water so that we have a larger surface of water we are seeing. And in the weight paint, I can just remove some of these. That's all. Add more on that side. You can use a sky texture and make the clouds using metaballs to get an amazing sky. Okay, I will try that. Let's try that. Let's first get some details here. Now, the other thing we can do is start adding in some leaves. So some plants growing on these, like what he has done here. You can get God rays using sky texture. Can I? Within Eevee? Because I don't think I've ever tried that. So let's try this. How do you get this sky texture? Because I don't think in Eevee you can actually do that. So if we want God rays, then we have to use first. You can make rain and rainbow. I think we are getting ahead of ourselves now. Yeah. Actually, let's first go back to the environment map and just use the HDRI image we have been using. We can experiment later, a bit later. Yo, thank you for subscribing, Chedi. So, what I want to do, actually, I have in the asset library, I have a plants collection, and maybe even a library. Let's see. Megascan, building, parts, city, corridor, park, furniture. Let me see. I think I have a plants library, so we can use some of those plants. And I created them in the same way that I've created these ones, as you saw. Let's go back to create and just link. Let me see if I have a plants collection. Yeah. And these plants have some weeds. Yo, thank you for subscribing. Dim good. Really appreciate that. Watercolor is too green. So you want it to be, I think it should be a bit dark, something like that. So I have some grass plants that I can add in here. I think they're going to tie the scene a bit better. Yes. Let me see. Yo, thank you for subscribing. Sekin Kutuk. I have this grass element here. Let's get rid of this. I can use it in several areas, so I can just add it here. It's simple grass blades. I mean, go back to its particle system. Just increase the size of the grass. And the great thing about this is that if you add a shrink wrap modifier, you can make it follow the surface of. And now you can see we are getting some nice bush. And I can even scale this quite large, make it quite scaled, and just increase the particle count. Maybe 1000. You can try 100 and just increase the, just use some particles. So something like 20, increase the particle radius. Give them some random rotation. I think these need to be closer to the camera somewhere. I'm going to go to the world setting and just turn the strength a bit down, because what I want to do is go to the world settings and just first remove this. I'm going to use a cube because I want to create some god rays, and if you have an object instead of the world settings, I can easily control the volume. So I'm going to go to the object, new material, shader principal volume. Is this a vegetation addon? This is the asset library. If you have vegetation, you can easily reuse it in different areas. Can you make rain and rainbow? Well, not in this stream, because that would be a bit too much for a single stream. 0.01 and bring the sun, maybe give it a yellowish color, and maybe even give this some emissive. .001. Let's try 100 for the sun. It's a bit too much. Let's try 10, but the volume can be high. And we can use an object off screen. I've created a shadow, like a shadow catches shadows here, so that parts of this are in the shadow. Maybe our volume is a bit too high, so 0.001. I'm struggling with materials. Do you have a material video? Yes, I do. I do have a few of those. Just type into YouTube Dev Channel 111 Blender materials. I should get some. Let me see. Viewport wire. Just going to 0.001. Let's get another bush. We have this. I can scatter this somewhere as well. Make sure that it's somewhere where the camera is viewing, otherwise we're just wasting resolution. Can duplicate this again. Hello, Amol Gamer. I think it's been a while since I last saw you. Is it? And just add in these small bushes like that. Let me see if I have anything else I could add in. Okay. Yeah, I know, man. I know. Hey, it's been a while. Okay, so this is where we're at. And you can see vegetation is quite hard to make. So instead of creating everything from scratch, I'm just going to use an add-on. I think I have the botanic add-on that you can use. Let me get a link for you if you want to download it yourself. So let me go to Blender Markets. Let me see, botanic. Yeah, so if you want to get the add-on I'm going to be using now, I can, that's the link. Now let's spawn some trees. Let me see what kind of trees we can use here. Let's try this. Add it somewhere here. Just have that there. Can use Alt D. Just somewhere there. Let's see what else. So you can see how easy this add-on is to use, and I think it's packed with a lot of trees, so yeah, so you can easily populate your scene. Let's see, I want thick trees. Let me see, that's carnivorous. Let's go into we also have some dead ones, so we can add them there as well, because we want to block out some of the sun coming in. Hello Patel, glad to see you. How are you doing? So this is a snow tree, so we don't want that. Final render will be in cycles. I'll try and see if my PC can handle it. I'll also have some nice grass elements you can add. Fine, thank you. Nice. Patel, remind me, what do you do? Are you just are you a freelancer, or are you working with a studio? I forget. Now most of what is remaining here is just set dressing. I'll have some dead leaves, so let's try adding them somewhere. Graphics designer. Nice. Some dead leaves. Actually, I think these are what we're missing, so let's have them. Yeah, let me pull back the camera a bit. I think one of the things we are still struggling with is the lighting. So let me first see let me examine this lighting and see. So it has this tree here and this tree here, framing this, kind of giving it a kind of a silhouette look, which is nice. Has these tanks. So it's our lighting that is becoming a bit difficult here. So let's try improving our light. We're going to start with something dark like that. Let me get my light, my sun. Just move this into a lights collection. Lights collection. You can do the coloring in Photoshop later. Yeah, you can do that, but most of the time I just want to work inside Blender. I'm also going to change the color of the water to more of a brownish, dirty color. Maybe even less reflective. Let's also first hide this for a second. Just going to grab the sun. Play with the light. And if you go to the sun, we can reduce the soft shadow to have some harsh shadows instead of soft shadows. So you there, Kiran? Yes, I do remember you, man. I do remember you. I think you are one of the viewers that I started the stream with. Thank you for subscribing, Shan. Thank you. Really appreciate it. So we want to set up the lighting. Let me see if I grab another sun. Just have it here, maybe make it a bit bluish. I'd give it a very small strength, because without that everything is a bit dark. Now we are getting the gold rays, but let me see. Yeah, 0.5. I think what we're lacking is just having more trees. I love to watch your things that I don't know. To watch things that I don't know. Thank you. Yes. Just can even use some of these trees to block out parts of this. I want to kind of create a thick forest so that this just disappears. The other issue we're having is that these trees are too green. So I can go into, let's see, color management, post final render on off stream in a community post. Yeah, I'll do that, but you can also follow the final render and render results. Our render results are reference images we use by going to Blender and Beyond, my website, Blender and Beyond. You'll find a post there. Let me get that for you. Blender and Beyond. No, Blender and Beyond. You can see this is the live stream we are creating here, and yeah, you'll see the reference image, and I'll post the final render after I'm done with the live stream. And that's what we have been doing for the previous live streams, for anyone who wasn't aware. And you can also see some text tutorials with GIF animations explaining how to set up materials and other things. You can just go to the website or use the exclamation mark website to go there and check out the website and in any new tutorials. Abhishek, if you want to know my setup, just type in exclamation mark setup, set up, and Nightbot should give you the links. Yeah, so I think there's a lot of green here. Let me first change this to a high contrast look. And what I want to do is use some curves here. I'll go to the green channel and just reduce that a little bit because it's kind of heavy. Maybe just maybe crank up the red so that this is a bit warm. Maybe somewhere like that. I'm going to select this light and just have something like that. Now you see we are getting somewhere with the gold rays. Something like that. And we can also go back onto the cube here. Just bring the emission strength back. So something like 0.005. Now you can see what we have. And just going to grab this, scale it down. If you export to bridge, if you export the bridge with the particle system as an FBX object, as an FBX to Unreal, would I think you're asking whether the leaves would be exported as a single mesh. No, the leaves would be separated. Sorry, the bricks would be separated as single object. So every particle would be exported as a single object. At least that's what has happened for me. Now we really want this to be thick. Okay, maybe not too thick in some areas. Let's go back to the render settings and just make sure we are using a very high contrast. Okay, that's too much. High contrast. Let me see. Let's go back to this. Let me just change this to something like 1. Let me see if I make it completely 0. And I remember we have some white paint, some particles here. We can paint on this side here. I think I just need to have more particles. Let's try. Okay, 10,000 is just too way high. Let's try 1,000. So let's see how this looks without the curves. So that's without the curves. That's without the color collection. And then maybe we can reduce on this just a bit. I'm just going to go to the red channel, bring this down a tiny bit. We are lacking some stones and things like that. Maybe you can even add a tree behind there. Check cycles. Yeah, I want to do that, but I'm afraid Blender would crash. There are a lot of things going in. There's a lot of geometry, and yeah, it can simply just crash on me. So maybe we can do that as the stream is ending. Where can I get the reference image? I want to check it too. Just go to, I had that website, so just go to Blender and Beyond, or just type in Blender and Beyond. Type in website and type exclamation mark website, and thank you, Samuel Raj. I really appreciate that. Thank you for the donation. I think that's 20 rupees. Thank you a lot. Really appreciate that. Yeah. So yeah, you can go to that website, Burning Bright, and you will see the first post. That's it will take you to the reference. Another thing we can do is this texture looks a bit. No, thank you, man, Raj. Thank you, really appreciate that. So this texture looks a bit plain. What we can do is I'm just going to use my texture folder and navigate to walls and look for a rough surface. I say something like this. Hopefully, it's stylable, and just import as a texture node. Now that we have this, you can see how this looks. I just need to make sure that this uses object mapping like that, and I'm just going to simply blend it with this material a bit, just to break up, to add some more rough surface to this. We can go to the asset library. I think I have a few things I could add here. If I go to building parts in the collection, I think I have some, yeah, I have this transmission tower, electricity tower, that we can add in the background. Just to make the composition look more interesting. So just going to grab other trees that are obstructing it and just pull them down a bit like that. Now we have other things here. I have this tower as well, but with that transmission tree, that transmission tower, I think we don't need that. Let's go to object ceiling. Let me see if there are other things I can add in here. I think if we go to vehicles, I have a vehicle park here. Maybe this can be added in. I'm going to grab this, straighten it up a bit. Go to collection. Go to city park and see. Trying to find other things that I can add in that would fit the scene. Let's go to decals. Oh, I even have a satellite. I'm not sure if it fits anywhere, but maybe somewhere here. Let me see if I bring it. Make it very, very large. Just grab these trees. Are you not gonna add a train? Yeah, I'm going to add that. I'm going to add a train. I have a few tanks. Let's use the same aspect ratio that he's using here. So go to the resolution, because I think it looks much cooler with that wider. How do you post-process the renders? I just use the curves that come here. So you can see just using that. IVGen. Yeah, the IVGen could work here, but we already have a lot of geometry in this scene. My PC will probably, very likely, 100% crash. Let's look for the train. I think I have it somewhere. Machines. Yeah, I have this tank. It's not an actual train, but I think it should do. You can even play with the exposure here just a bit. Maybe the sun is too much. The colors are too saturated as well. And if I go to the grass element here, I'm looking at this and it's not looking very, very good. So I think I'm just going to get rid of that, so we don't have. And for this, I think just using a couple, not too many of these, would also help. So instead of using that many, I can just I'm just going to grab this. I think also need this area here to be a bit covered. Uganda to the world. Thank you, Stamale. Chechiriwo Gambachi. How are you doing? Yeah, thank you for subscribing. Maulana, thank you. I'm going to change the color of this. I don't like the red. Let's just use a brownish color like in the example. I'm going to use a rusted surface. Yeah, something like that. Nice to meet you too. Nice to meet you, man. Maybe even duplicate another one here, just like in the composition. Let me block some of the light coming in and see if adding a shadow somewhere here would help. Just need a very large tree to do that for us. It's getting harder to see the water. I'm just going to scale it, this water. Just go back to sculpt mode. Just again use Dino Topo. Actually this is much better. And go back to the weight paint. Just paint these plants to be here. Just move. Camera somewhere there. And I think I'm just going to borrow some Megascan surfaces or textures. I have some rocks somewhere. Just put them somewhere here because I think this area looks a bit too plain. And one thing you have to be careful about using libraries like Megascans is that a lot of other people have access to the same library, so any assets you use are going to be easily recognized. So you can try to scale them down, just like I've done there, so that they're not easy to recognize that they are from a public library like Megascan. I have some grass far there. It's not very useful where it is, so I'm just going to bring it closer to the camera. Somewhere there. Are you adding some dirt on the bridge columns? Some dirt on the bridge columns. Yeah, I should. Maybe even reduce on the roughness of this. So this is our roughness. I can add a color mix RGB somewhere here. How is your PC so strong? Your PC strong? How strong is your PC? I just type in a setup. Let me do that for you. You can see my setup rig. I'll be adding some pictures soon to that so that you can really get a good feeling of what I'm using. And Russia, I think I didn't see any messages from you. I think I'll just skip them. I didn't see any. Can you ask again what you are asking? Let me see how this roughness looks. Yeah, I want it to be a bit rough. I love Blender and program and its users. I think everyone does. Yeah, Blend. That's nice that you love Blender. Yeah, man bridge looks clean. Yeah, I see that. I'm trying to make it not so. Maybe add a roughness here, just. Let me see, how many materials does this have? Trying to make this less rough. I think what we can do is, let me go to my texture folder and just use a grunge map. Maybe actually a grunge map. Let me go to my grunge maps. Grunges. Yo, thank you for subscribing, Kura. Really appreciate that. 133 likes. Great. Thank you guys. Thank you. I'm just going to grab this, maybe this texture here. So this is the current diffuse we have. I'm just going to import as a texture node. I'll just grab this here. And I think we can use object mapping again. Just bring the scale up like that. And what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to blend these two. Use this as a factor. As I said, the bridge looks too clean. And we can make this dark like that. You have tutorial name equals epic scenes with advanced volumetric lighting. After I click on bake indirect light, my scene got light reddish. Yeah, so the lighting that results from baking is a combination of a lot of things. One, the environment, the HDRI image you have in your scene is also added into consideration when baking the light. And I'm not sure what else, but yeah, try playing with a different HDRI. Okay, so now I think it's not that clean. And something like that. Let's go back to the world set, to the environment setting. Let me first get rid of this. Okay, this also doesn't look too bad, I think. And unhide this. You don't use HDRI in your tutorial? In the tutorial? I would have to first look at the tutorial you're talking about and maybe see what could be going on. Let me go back to the I know you can also try posting the sample image or the render you have made, a screenshot of what you have, of what you're seeing into the Discord server or into Discord, and I'll take a look at it and see. That's the Discord server. You can use !Discord to get that. Get the camera. Let's grab some of the elements that we have added to the back here. Thank you too, man. Thank you too for joining us, man. Really appreciate it. Just have some random pieces like that. And also grab another one here. And grab this. Bring it closer to the camera. Maybe Lovely music. Thank you, thank you. That's Jetfire by Jeff2. No copyright music or from YouTube. If you want to check it out. Waiting for one quick render. It almost looks complete. Yeah, I think so. Let's first turn off some of these effects and see. On 28. I think we can even add some camera animation to this. Render time? We haven't rendered anything. We are still in Eevee. Do you post your renders anywhere? Yeah, I do. You just type in !website and you can go to that page. You'll see the first post about the same topic we are working on here, and that's where when I finish the render, I will post everything there. Unable to accept invite. Let me see. Let me create a new. Let me see. Why would that now to work? Could that be an issue on your side? Because it seems to work on my side. Okay, let me just create a new link. Yeah, I think that's a sweet animation we can live in. Maybe animate the water a bit. Let me first get you the link, an invitation, a link. Where do you do that? Invite people. Copy. You can. Did the vegetation? Did the vegetation move to? Like a breeze. Oh, so you want the vegetation to move? That's easy. Okay, so to animate the vegetation, we can add either a wave. Let me actually first isolate this for a second and see how can I animate this. So I have this. If I give it a wave modifier, because I think it's the easiest way. It's moving. It's just doing an upward motion. But if we change, let's see, if we animate it, I'd have this sort of animation. That should be enough. So I'm just going to. What's your poly count? Let me see. Poly count is 12K or 12,000. Sorry, 12,000 objects. It's nearly a million triangles. That's 747,000. That's the poly count we have. Now let's give this some slight animation and see. Will that work? Not sure if it's working, but what I think we can do, we can add an empty, or go into edit mode, select everything. Actually, we can just add an empty directly at the bottom there, at the cursor. Go into edit mode, depth of field setting. You joined Discord. Nice. Did you use Volumetric for the dust? Yes, I use Volumetrics. Where did you get the plant texture? From textures.com. So I'm just going to do Control and just first select this and then this. Tab into edit mode, Control H, hooked selected object. Now if I rotate this, the plant will get some rotation. So I'm just going to rotate this, give this some random rotation like that. Let me see now. Now you can see we have some slight animation. I'm not sure if it's coming through these as well. If I see if I can find. Let me make sure that this. We need to go back to the particle system and just make sure that we refresh this. Now you can see we have some vegetation moving like a breeze, as you suggested. Just select this. Maybe even scale this down. Actually, it has to be a bit slower than that. Then what I'm going to do is go into edit mode, just get rid of the scale keyframes and the location keyframes, just only remain with the rotation keyframes. That way I can easily duplicate this with the animation. What do you think about doing VFX shots? I've got a lot of research, a lot of requests to do a VFX shot, but VFX requires a lot of preparation. That's why you see I haven't done it. I just need to Control H, hook to selected. And now this also has the animation, but I can offset it just a bit and maybe even go to tab into edit mode and maybe mirror this animation, so that's a bit different. Could you please show depth of field setting? I haven't really set up any depth of field for this. Now you can see we have some plants that have some breeze that are affected by the wind. I'm going to do the same here. Cursor selected, Shift D, then select the empty, select this, select everything, Control H, hook to object. Now this also has the animation, but this time I'm just going to mirror the Z rotation, so that we kind of have some random. Control M Y, just to randomize things a bit, and you can see we have some nice breeze. Can do the same for this. Shift D, just select everything. Control H, hooked, selected. Did you make all the assets from scratch? Except a few trees you saw me importing from the polygonic or botanic add-on. Yes, I did make everything else from scratch, but not in this stream. Some I imported from previous projects we have worked on. Now, let's do the same for this. So Shift D, grab this and this, to selected. Just randomize this again. Go to selected. Just randomize this. Is that something like this happened to me in a scene, but in some way on another thing bug happened to all of the scene in the planar version? It's very strange. Do you know about the bug where if you use volume absorption on a material in Eevee, it stops working and a dark cube is created in the center of the object? I'm not sure. I have not experienced that bug. Have you tried reporting it? Yes. Now we see we have some breeze. Yeah, try reporting it and see. They're very quick at trying to fix bugs like that. Yeah, so this is what we have. I'm going to give this, let me first see how this looks in cycles. If the stream crashes, just know that it was a result of doing this. But I think things are looking fine. But yeah, I've saved. Failed. Okay, so it's showing that optics has failed. Let's see. Let's try a different. Let's see. Try image denoising. That has also failed. Can you show the particle properties in the grass settings? Let me see. And I think I'll also do that. Share screenshots of the particle the settings I've been using here. So for the particle settings, we have the number is 1000. In the source, we are setting this to be random, even distribution. The orientation is Y. Try using CUDA. Yeah, it might blow up anytime soon. Let's see. So CUDA is, let me go to preferences, interface, system. CUDA. CUDA uses image denoising. Seems to be working. Yeah. Very wise man. You are a very, very wise man. How did you get so wise in the ways of science, man? Yeah, so this is how it looks in cycles, but I don't think... where is my volume? It doesn't seem to render the volume. So it seems it's not rendering the volume in cycles for some reason. Yes, cycles. Yeah, has its issues. It needs a beefy machine, which I don't have. I think I'll render it around there. So anyway, thank you for showing up. Yeah, because if I set denoising on, it just this stops working. But that's it. I'll try to render this in cycles and Eevee, and I'll post the render results in the on the chat on the website. Again, the website is, just check what Nightbot is showing you there. It's going to show that. That's the website where you will find the final render images. And for the project files, you can just go to Patreon. Let me test out some of the commands here. I haven't tested out. Here, I don't have a Patreon command, it seems, but I have a links command which should include the Patreon link. I have a second channel which is included in this link. Then what other? Let me try the commercial add-on, the commercial command. Yeah, thank you for joining us, and everyone else who have liked, subscribed, or just been around at Hangout. It was really amazing. Let me see if this commercial command will work. Then after that I can unfortunately, okay, it doesn't seem to work. I'm shocked when I saw your GPU. I'm using an RTX 3080 and still right now. You get there, man. You'll get there. Yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you Amol Gamer. Thank you Wells Sahli. Thank you Dandy Ghost 2008. Thank you everyone who has been lurking in the background. Thank you everyone who has been chatting. Thank you everyone who has liked, subscribed, viewed, everything. Anyway, I'll see you later.